I had never expected a simple request to shift the course of my relationship with my stepson, but life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. It had been nearly 2 years since I married Ryan, a wonderful man with a kind heart and a quiet strength. He had a son, Jason, from his previous marriage, a bright but reserved 13-year-old who had yet to fully warm up to me. I understood his hesitation. His mother had left when he was 10, and since then, it had just been him and his dad. Then I came along, stepping into a role I wasn't sure he wanted me to fill. I tried not to push too hard, giving him space, letting him come to me on his own terms. We exchanged polite words, shared the occasional meal, but there was always a wall between us. I longed to break through it, but I knew it had to be in his own time. One evening, Ryan was working late, and it was just Jason and me at home. I had been getting ready for an event at a friend's house. Nothing fancy, just a small gathering, but I had chosen a dress with a zipper in the back, one I had forgotten was nearly impossible to manage alone. After a few minutes of struggling in front of the mirror, twisting my arm awkwardly to reach the zipper, I let out an exasperated sigh. That's when I heard footsteps outside my bedroom door. Jason had been passing by, and, without thinking, I called out, "Jason, could you help me for a second?" He hesitated in the doorway, looking at me uncertainly. What do you need?" I turned my back to him, gathering my hair to the side. "I just need help with the zipper. I can't reach it." For a moment, I thought he might refuse. But then, slowly, he stepped forward. I could feel the slight tremor in his fingers as he grasped the zipper. Carefully, he tugged it downward. The act itself was simple, but it carried an unspoken weight, an offering of trust, a moment of closeness that had been rare between us. As the zipper slid down, I glanced at his reflection in the mirror. His expression was focused, a little uncertain, but there was something else there, too, something softer, something open. "There," he said, stepping back quickly. "All done." I turned to face him, giving him a warm smile. "Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate it." He gave a small nod, shoving his hands into his pockets. Then, as if deciding something in that moment, he spoke. "You look nice," he mumbled. It was barely more than a whisper, but it sent warmth flooding through me. "That means a lot," I said sincerely. "Coming from you." He gave a quick, almost shy smile before heading back to his room. But something had changed between us in those few seconds. A barrier had been chipped away, replaced with a quiet understanding. That night, when Ryan came home, Jason actually sat in the living room with me while we waited for him. It was the first time he had done that without me asking. We talked about school, about his favorite video game. It was the most natural conversation we had ever had. And from that day on, things were different. He started seeking me out more, sharing little pieces of his life with me. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but it was a step, a significant one. A few weeks later, Jason asked if I could help him with a school project. I was surprised, but I eagerly agreed. We spent the evening working on it together, and he even laughed at one of my jokes. It was a small moment, but it felt monumental. One weekend, Ryan had to go on a business trip, leaving Jason and me alone for a few days. I was nervous, not sure how we would manage without the buffer of his dad. But to my surprise, Jason suggested we order pizza and watch a movie together. I let him pick, and he chose an old action film he thought I might like. We sat on the couch, sharing a bowl of popcorn, and for the first time, it felt like we were truly bonding. As the months went on, our relationship continued to evolve. He started to talk to me about things that bothered him, things he was excited about, even things he was too embarrassed to ask his dad. It meant everything to me. One afternoon, I came home from work to find Jason in the kitchen, attempting to bake cookies. Flour was everywhere, and he had a look of sheer concentration on his face. When he saw me, he grinned sheepishly. "I was trying to surprise you," he admitted. "You mentioned liking chocolate chip cookies." I was touched beyond words. Together, we cleaned up the mess and finished baking the cookies. They were slightly burnt, but they were the best cookies I had ever tasted because of what they represented. One night, Jason had a nightmare. He never talked about it, but I heard his door creak open, and a few moments later, He appeared in the hallway. "Hey," I said softly. "You okay?" He hesitated before nodding. "Can I sit with you for a little while?" I patted the couch beside me, and he curled up with a blanket. We sat in comfortable silence until he eventually fell asleep. I tucked the blanket around him, feeling a surge of love and protectiveness. Ryan noticed the change in our relationship, and one evening, after Jason had gone to bed, he pulled me into a hug. "I don't know how you did it, but he adores you now. I've never seen him this comfortable with anyone besides me." Tears pricked my eyes. It just took time. And a zipper. Ryan chuckled, pressing a kiss to my forehead. Whatever it was, I'm so grateful. Looking back, I realized it wasn't about the dress or the zipper. It was about trust, about breaking through the invisible walls we had both put up. It was about a simple moment that became the turning point in our relationship. And in that moment, I knew I wasn't just his father's wife. I was becoming something more. I was becoming family.